Good morning, Primary 6. Today for spelling we're going to be looking at our new words, but what I wanted to talk to you about before I did was the fact that we started for the X, Y and Z groups writing a paragraph last week as opposed to some sentences. Now the majority of you read and followed the instructions really well, and I got some absolutely amazing paragraphs. I was blown away and I'm sure you understood that from your feedback if you're one of the people who put so much effort in. I was so impressed, so very much a big well done for that. However, there were some people that didn't read the instructions and did sentences instead, but we're really trying to build in these literacy skills. So rather than just doing 10 separate sentences, we want to try and build everything in to make something a little bit more cohesive. That means it fits together a little bit better. I'm not expecting a story, literally a paragraph, but I want you to try and use your 10 words in your paragraph in a really effective way and have lots of VCOP in there as well. And so many of you did such a good job, so I was really proud of you for doing that. So well done. And just a reminder as well, please upload your work onto the assignment as opposed to onto the post. So I'll go on and I'll start going through the spelling groups just now. So I'll pop on the screen what time to skip to for your group. So W group, you have got this O sound today. Now there's 3 different ways that that sound is made that we're going to look at. We've got the OA, we've got the OW, and then we've got the O and then another letter and then an E. So in these words, it all makes the same sound. It makes an O sound, but you can see obviously we've got 3 different spellings, which is why it's important that we learn the spellings of these words because the sound is the same but is spelled differently. So our first word is boat. It's got that O-A, O, but, oat, O, that kind of O sound. We've got coat and then load, okay? So again, coat, O, oat, and then we've got load, O, ode. So you can hear that makes the same noise. We've also got road and toad that have that sound pattern in there as well. You should know what all of those mean. Boat is something you sail in, a coat is something you wear. Load is like you could load something up, like I loaded the shopping up into the car, or you could say I was carrying a heavy load, like you were carrying a lot of things. Road you drive on, and toad is an amphibian. Then we go on to the O, and then there's another letter in between and the E at the end. And again, that makes that long O sound in the middle of the word. So smoke, O, sm, O, k. So you can see that even though there's only one O there, by adding the E after that other letter, it makes the O much longer. Oak, smoke, choke. You should know what both of those mean. Number 8, alone. So we're moving, so we've got that O and then another letter in the E. So we've got that alone, again, that long O sound. And then we've got snow and show, which have that OW. So if you think of the word now, that makes an I sound, but in these words, it makes an O sound. So that's why it's important to learn these. We've got snow and show, and it's that OW. So X group, this week you are looking at silent letters. Now you have looked at some silent letters before in the form of like looking at all silent B's or silent W's, but this is using some new words you've not looked at before and also kind of combining everything together. Some of these silent letters are a little bit different as well in that you don't hear the letter that should be heard, but it does make a difference to how the word sounds. And unfortunately, they're just kind of odd words that you need to learn. So I'll try and talk about those a little bit as we go through. So our first word is climb. Now, you don't hear the B on the end on that one, but if you take the B off, it would just be sort of clim. So it makes it kind of sound like there's an E at the end of that particular word. So it's just kind of one of those that you need to learn, but it doesn't sound like climb, okay? Because that's not what it is, but it makes it sound like there's an E on the end there. Again, we've got silent B and we've got thumb. Now this time, it doesn't sound like an E, and you just don't hear the B. Next, we've got knock. So have a think about what letter is silent on that one. So it is the first K on knock is silent. Then we've got number 4, which is design. So think about carefully about which letter we don't really hear on that. Okay, so again, it's the G in this word, but again, if we took it out, we'd kind of say desin. whereas it makes it sound like there's that E on the end of it, so design. And again, another weird one you kind of just need to learn. Then we've got wrinkle, so think about the silent letter in that. That's just a silent W, same with right. Then we've got answer. So what's our silent letter there? So is that W? So if you took that out, it wouldn't change how the word sounded. Then we've got sword. Think about that one. Again, that is our silent W. Okay, number 9 is foreign. So if something is foreign, it means that it's not from the place where you are. And can you see what the silent letter is in that one? So we've got a silent G in there. Foreign, you don't hear that G sound. Then last one we have got is scissors. Can you think of what the silent letter is in that? And it is the C in that particular word. So because we have silent letters, these words are harder to spell because they don't sound, or they don't look like what they sound like when we say them or we think them in our head. So it's really important that you write these out, you try and get your head around how they look and learn the look of the word as well as the sounds that are in it. So Y group, you have got this PH sound this week. Now, we would think that would make like a P noise, but actually we know that it makes our F sound, so a F sound. So let's have a look at it. Now, in these words, it's in a variety of locations. For some words, it's at the end, some words it's in the middle, some words it's at the start. But for all of these words, it all makes the same sound, which is quite nice because that's not always the case. So we're always looking at that first sound. So let's go through. We've got graph, so it's at the end there. So graphs are like we're going to be learning about later this year. We'll make some graphs out of some data. And then we've got number 2, phone, so I'm sure you're all well aware of what phone is. Photo at the start again, and physical. Now physical is really commonly misspelled because it's got that Y sound that sounds like an I sound, so it's really important you learn particularly the start of that word, because it'll help you with words like physics as well. Number 5, we've got alphabet. Again, it sounds like an F. That one's quite commonly misspelled as well. People put an F in there by accident. Dolphin, so it's in the middle of the word again there. Elephant again. Geography towards the end this time, but still making that F sound. Then we've got microphone, so that F, so it's just the phone on the end of the micro. And then we've got sphere. Now sphere is obviously a 3D circular object, but sphere, I would say, and physical are the 2 in there that are really, really commonly misspelled. So please make sure when you're learning them, obviously you're learning all of them, but that you're really concentrating on making sure you have got those 2 correct because they are really commonly spelled wrong. So Z, we are continuing on with tricky words, moving down the alphabet, and these words are towards the end of the alphabet this week. So we have got a few different words that are all fairly tricky and commonly misspelled. First of all, we've got the stomach, so the organ in your body. We've got stomach. Now, I'm sure you can see that that kind of sounds like a G sound at the end, like a GH sound, but it's actually that CH sound. It sounds like stomach when you say it like it looks, but it's stomach, so we need to make sure we're learning how that word looks. Next, we've got sufficient. Now, that double F is really commonly missed out, and also the IE tends to be either in the wrong place in the word, or the E and the I are the wrong way around. Again, it's one of those words that's got, you know, that I and then an IE, so it's the sets of vowels, and you're just making sure you learn where each vowel goes in the word for that one. Sufficient means to make sure you've got enough. So I needed to make sure I had sufficient prizes for the group that had won. You know, I needed to buy 6 for 6 children. Number 3, we've got symbol. So symbol is something that represents another object, but with like a written down thing, like hieroglyphics for the Egyptians would be symbols. And it's got that Y, but it sounds like it should be an I, so we need to remember that. It's also an instrument to play the cymbal for that one as well. Number 4, temperature. So have a think of that word and see why it's commonly misspelled. So it's really, really often the E in the middle of the word is left out because it's actually temperature, not temperature. And it's hard to hear that E, so it's about learning that that's there. Again, that's another one of these words that's just packed full of vowels, and we really need to focus on learning where the vowel is in the word. Number 5, thorough. Now, this is mixed up all the time with the word through, and they are so similar, but they mean different things, and they even look similar. So if we look at thorough, it's Thor, thur, and then whereas through, the only thing that's different is that first O is missing. So you can see why that is super confusing, but they mean totally different things and they're really commonly mixed up. So to go through something is to like make your way through the classroom, going through it. Whereas thorough, if you do something in a thorough way, it means you've paid a lot of attention to it and really covered the details. So you could say that, I made sure I was thorough when I checked my writing for punctuation mistakes, meaning you really took your time to do it. So they mean totally different things. So it's that first O changes the whole word. So make sure you're learning the difference between those two. Number 6, we've got 12th. Now, I even find saying this a bit of a mouthful, but obviously we've got, like, for example, 10th or 11th. It's, basically the word with the th on the end of it, whereas this 12 is TWELVE, but then we take the VE off, change it to an F, and then add the th sound. So just making sure we're learning how that looks. Number 7, we've got variety. That is another one where people tend to muddle up the E and the I and put them the wrong way around, or miss one of those letters out, or they'll put the E after the T. So just learning where the vowels are in that word. Vegetable has a silent E in it. The second E is silent, so it's about remembering that it's vegetable, not, like that's how you spell it, even though you don't say that. So it's vegetable. I find it quite funny to say. Number 9, we've got vehicle. I actually find this one quite tricky to spell at times. I really have to think. For some reason my brain thinks there's an extra E in there after the I. But it's quite handy to say it like an American. They say vehicle. Yeah, like I'm going to take the vehicle, that one. No, they say it, but they say it in a way that you can hear all the sounds. Vehicle. I don't even think I'm saying that right, but they do. If you look up how an American says vehicle, they will say vehicle, that's it. And you can hear it a little bit better. So hopefully from now on you'll hear me attempting to say that every time you try and spell the word. Hopefully that was a bit memorable. And then finally, number 10, we have got yacht. Now this is another word that is just completely confusing. To me, the way the sounds are just make no sense. You don't hear that H at all. And it kind of sounds like a GHT as well. So just making sure you are learning it's a CHT, yacht, CHT on the end of it. So they're all just quite tricky words, making sure you're learning them and know basically what they are. So good luck with your activities with those ones.